So we're at the Great American Outdoor Show 2024. What is it, third day now?
Day three.
Day three. Okay, we at the Waterfeather booth with Tyler, who is an official host of the podcast now. Don't know how he made it here to the Great American Outdoor Show. We have Angelo too. Guys, welcome to the podcast first.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
There you go. All right, so walk me through this quick here for the listeners. You can kind of see it in the video, but this is like a kayak on steroids is what I would say this is.
Yeah,
I mean, because my kayak, I picked it up. This weighs how much?
So 58 pounds without the blind on top of it. So bare boat, 58 pounds.
Okay, all right. Man, because my kayak, I would probably say was probably close to 20, 30 pounds, but yet with the compactness of the kayak, it felt heavier, right?
Sure.
So this here, I know a lot of people are going, this is Waterfowl, mostly but I don't know if they can see it in the video, but who is this the owner?
So that's the president of Waterfeather, Jeff Klump, Whitetail Edge. He actually used this boat to get that whitetail out of his Indiana property.
Okay.
So he used it to get in and get out.
Yeah.
So we do like to hammer waterfowl for sure, but you can use it for whitetails and for fishing as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that's because, I'm big into whitetails. So that's what my mind goes to right away, right? Mm-hmm. Is whitetails. That's always on my mind, the forefront of everything of how to get this in there to get a whitetail. And that just proves right there that you can do it with this boat, and it probably would fit a little better. You probably feel more comfortable in it.
Oh, yeah.
Also, because in the kayak you're squished in there with. I've seen people do it, right?
And if you're a bigger guy too, I mean, I want to have a little bit of room, just like in a stand. I want to have plenty of room to work with.
Yes.
For a platform. Same thing with this boat.
Yeah.
You also got a little storage area right back here. To put any of your gear, your stand, any gear. It's all hollow underneath here too, so you can put extra layer clothes if you want, your bow, your pack, whatever. But this actually, from what Ben told me too, this was actually designed originally for whitetail hunters.
Yes.
Gaining access in the little waterways. They achieved that. Waterfowl now.
Just gobbling it up.
I mean, it's limitless pretty much. I'm going to use mine for smallmouth fishing, getting in them nice little tight holes on the creek. Mm-hmm. This thing will do it. You can put a marine battery with a 55-pound thrust motor or a 2 horsepower motor on the back. Yeah. So it can do it all. You can zoom up and down the creeks, do Mach 10 through the swamp at 5 a.m. if you're feeling froggy. Take this mic.
I mean, you could use it for frogging too,
Yeah.
Fishing.
Yeah.
Bow fish. Oh, that would be epic. Put lights around the bottom of this thing.
Use it to trap as well.
Those LED lights in the studio.
You could put the
I love to
battery
trap, so I run it down the creek and have a bunch of sets with it as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean and those creeks you're trapping in probably aren't very deep. So I mean, you have to use something like this. I mean, it's a flat bottom too, so you can go in those maybe rockier areas, right?
Instead of me going down the bank, coming back up, down, back up, I'm just gonna go straight down.
Yeah. Man, there's so many options. This boat is absolutely endless. When did it first come about?
We're about a year old.
Okay.
We're about a year old. Really starting to take off on social media, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get the word out, which is good.
And this is really the first of its kind, also.
Yes.
So I mean, it's you can just throw it in the back of your truck. Mm-hmm. Go. You don't need a trailer.
It's 9 foot long, so I mean, you can even put the bed down, and it'll be perfect for the truck. It'll be good.
Run me and the listeners through a little bit of the specs of this boat, real quick.
Yeah. So 9 foot long, a little under 4 feet wide. Has a nice large cockpit here, which is about under 7 feet. 58 pounds.
Capacity is 320.
Yeah, 320 pounds. So we tested it with the U.S. Coast Guard.
Yeah.
They put a ton of weight in it. Held up great.
1,300 pounds before she started taking on water. So.
I mean, just think about it. 2 of our buddies, one's a little bit heavier set, and the other one's about 200
Don't
pounds.
talk about Mac that way. He didn't mean that. 2 guys can
anyway,
actively
well
fit
over
in
500
here,
pounds, and you're
comfortable. You're not, you can breathe still without taking on water.
Yeah.
But
sorry, Mac. Don't get upset with me about that.
He's going to watch this. He's going to shake his head. Darn you, Jackson. No, it also comes with a wheel kit, too. So on the sides here,
that's new. So
there's 3 sets of holes on the sides. You can put your wheel kit on, tow it with an e-bike.
ATV, anything you want to use to
a horse.
Stop back and forth.
You can do that, too. No. All silliness aside, though, this thing is made to go in places where it's hard to get a boat, give you access to.
One big thing that I also want to mention, everything's made in-house in the U.S.,
Veteran
Southern
owned.
Indiana, and the big thing is veteran-owned.
Yep.
So take a lot of pride in that for this product.
Yep, Waterfeather team, they really are a standalone company. I will say everybody is very welcoming and family-like, and we appreciate, you guys let us represent you guys. So thank you for everything you guys do.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Drop where they can follow and maybe even buy a boat. If they're not here at the Great American Outdoor Show, where they can buy the boat at.
So we'll be here for the full show. After this, we'll be at NWTF. And then after that, at the end of February, we'll be at the Indy show. So that's going to be a good show for us. It's going to be in the home state.
Yeah.
We'll be there for 3 days. You can find us on Instagram, Waterfeather Boats, Facebook as well. You can reach out to any of us, and we'll point you in the right direction. So
cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Cody.
At the Latitude booth with Jake here.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you, man? You guys have
Doing
grown
well.
quite a bit.
Yeah, it might seem that way from the outside. I guess it's kind of it's a little humbling. We've had a lot of people say something like that to us this week here, but it's cool to see for sure that we're recognized by so many people now.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, we're still just a small team, just kind of doing what we love to do.
Yep.
Hunting and fishing and making and designing products to use in the woods.
So let's start from the very beginning. The first thing that came out was a 2-panel saddle, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. Do you have one of them here?
We do not have the original one here.
Okay.
But it was very similar to our Method 2. Which we got a bunch of those back here.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
2-panel saddle. We kind of always liked. Well, I guess first let's get into kind of the backstory.
Yes.
Before that.
Yep.
So the company started with 3 buddies. We went to high school and college together, played sports together, and hunted and fished together.
Yep.
And kind of after college, we were doing a lot of public land DIY hunting in southern half of Michigan, big swamps, and it's just really hard to get tree stands back into those places.
Yes.
We were using kayaks and all different kinds of alternative access to get into places. And, you'd end up with 2 or 3 presets for a season, and you're kind of stuck to those because things were just so hard to move and make adjustments throughout the season. So that's when we got into the saddles, and it really was sort of a game changer for us and how we hunted. It gave us a lot more flexibility, and we were able to get back into places, based on conditions and what was happening that particular day or week, as opposed to just hunting the same spot every day that you can hunt, or not going into a place unless the conditions were absolutely perfect for that spot.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we recognized immediately. That was the advantage of the saddle hunting. We tried a lot of different saddles, and we recognized the benefit of it. But we felt that there just wasn't anything out there that was quite perfect for what we wanted from a comfort standpoint and a functional standpoint. So we started tinkering and making our own, and after probably 200 plus prototype saddles, we kind of arrived at the method, the original method, which had the plastic clips to maintain the 2 panels together. A year later, we came out with the Method 2 and kind of improved it even further.
Okay.
And everything kind of kicked off from there. That was really well received, and as we've grown, we've added to the portfolio. Now we have the whole system from climbing sticks to platform, ropes, saddle, accessories, all that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the gear hanger. The gear hanger's nice. It's very light. Looks very lightweight. All it's
the gear hanger is pretty slick. It's just, you know, basically backpack webbing with 5 loops on there to hang gear that are movable and removable.
Yeah.
So we like to keep things simple, but functional and give you all the feature benefits that you're looking for at the same time.
Lightweight. That's what everyone wants to go to now, right? Lightweight, you know, packable,
lightweight,
easy to carry,
fast, quiet, low fiddle factor, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the sticks, they came out this past year, correct? Or was it a little bit before
we
that?
actually launched them for pre-order last year at this show.
Okay, all right.
So we've had them available and for sale for about exactly a year now.
Yeah.
So and I apologize for everybody who had the delays last year. We had some supply chain struggles that we had to work through, but that's all behind us now. So we're trying to move forward from all that.
Yeah, I mean,
learn the lessons to learn. So
and you have 2 platforms, right? Is that the X-Wing right there?
We currently have the X-Wing and our Rebel platform.
Okay. Which is this one right here.
This one here. That's the more kind of traditional, standard shape platform.
Yep.
We're actually working on a newer one that'll be available later before the season this year. Late summer, early fall.
Okay. All right. Now your sticks, I'm not like too much. I kind of got into the mobile game the last year and a half. Your sticks, to me, from what I've done, is like first real carbon fiber stick that came out. Am I correct with that, or am I wrong?
I don't know if it was not the first stick to utilize carbon fiber.
Okay.
It was the first one, to our understanding, to use the specific technology that we're using. So we're using a moldable composite carbon fiber. All carbon fiber is a composite material that either uses a resin or a polymer to bind those fibers together.
Yeah.
We're just doing it in a more untraditional way.
Right. So are you going to try and make and you might not want to tell me this, or are you trying to make a stand like that too out of the carbon fiber composite?
It's something we've looked at. It's not something that we're working on doing right now. There's a not just from the material side of things.
Right.
You could make one.
Right.
But there's some other factors like noise and things like that just make the platforms with the moving parts a little bit more challenging.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you would want listeners to know, watchers to know about Latitude?
You kind of caught me off guard with that one. I wasn't prepared for that question.
I know. Sometimes I like to throw wrenches in there and just switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we really covered everything: the backstory, the product line.
Yep. One thing we didn't cover is that amazing YouTube series you guys put out of Grit, which I always looked forward to that every time it come out. Like, I look forward to hunting public videos, and then Latitude.
Well, that's some awesome feedback to hear. I wasn't really in the trenches on the Grit. Yeah. I did do the hunting in the Grit, but the credit really lies with Derek and Aaron and Alex for producing, filming, and putting that all together.
Yeah.
But that we've got a lot of really positive feedback from the Grit. We're glad that people like it, and we really just want to kind of show the, I guess, average hunter, and we're just like them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we want to get out and explore new places, and check those bucket list states off your list, and just keep grinding out there.
Yeah.
It's tough, but that's what we love to do.
When you eat up with whitetails, you just kind of 365 kind of, right?
It really is.
Yeah,
for sure. And there's something to do every month of the year, 100%.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming on here for this little sort of segment here. And,
no
can't
problem.
wait to see where you guys go.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. We're having a good ride so far. So.
Yeah. We are at the Lowe's booth.
Lowe's rope scrape.
Yep, there we go. All right. So, Rick, you want to walk us through pretty much what you got going on here? All that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, we have rope scrapes, and these are pretty much set up to put out early in April to put out over a trail camera, just pretty much to catch and see what you got coming in. I have a line of real product. Real, when I say real, is real urine. Some people can't use real urine because they need to use a synthetic. So we have a synthetic. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 synthetic and 2 real. And you come up and you just tell me what you're doing, how you're going to hunt it and where you're going to do it. And I can advise you, like our best seller, what works.
Okay.
What works the time of the year you want it to use it in, and put it out and let it all season. You can early season see what you got. Watch your buck grow into a mature target buck.
Right.
And hopefully he'll be there hanging in that area when you're back out in the season.
Yeah.
And that's happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, do you have doe estrus one here?
Right.
Are these all doe estrus, or are they all different? Okay.
So this is a peak certified. We send our urine out. We get it tested.
Okay.
30 picograms per milliliter. You're not buying doe pee. You're buying doe estrus. So it's got the sticker on it to guarantee it. We recommend you can buy it. It's vacuum sealed. It's going to stay fresh. You wouldn't break that out until the bucks get hard antlered.
Okay.
So that hard antler means that the testosterone level's up.
Right.
That's something now he knows he can look for a doe. He can breed. He can start looking for a doe. Doesn't mean the doe's going to be ready, but he knows what he's looking for.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not going to really have a big benefit to it.
Right. Okay. So this would be good for right when that hardhorn, like say September, end of August, September timeframe.
Yeah.
Put that out.
Yeah, I would actually recommend getting it out like a little bit early because they don't always lose their velvet all at once. Some like a week before.
Right.
And what you're going to end up with is the younger bucks is going to approach it quicker because that's a thing. It's the smell that's like, young bucks just going for what they're not supposed to be.
Right.
And then the older bucks will wait a little bit later. In the last 2 weeks, prime.
Okay. All right.
Good stuff.
Okay. So what else do we got? We got buck urine.
Buck urine. I sell deer scents on the side, and we do buck urine, and buck urine is one of the most underrated scents. Early season, you can put it out. Young bucks congregate, they go together, and later in the season, they don't want nothing to do with it. So if they smell them, they go in and run them out. So that's a scent that's really good. Not a lot of people use it, but it's excellent. And if you put it on a rope scrape and put it out, you're going to get some activity with it.
Okay. Can you so would you say these would be like a good mock scrape, or can you put it over already community scrape that would draw them in even more?
As long as you have deer in the area, if you got a mock scrape and you got it going, just let it go. Don't mess.
Okay.
If you want to, you can make it, and that's what this does.
Yeah.
Clear out a little bit of the leaves on the bottom. If it rains, it washes it down. You got that. People say bucks don't pee in the trees, but that's in the air, so it blows, and you got extended range. It's going to bring them in. They can smell it. It works great.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily have. If you're putting it in an area where there's deer, you're going to get congregation.
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting.
Yep.
So let's do, because you got a few here.
Yeah. Let me start at the left here. Preorbital.
Yep.
That's a lot of the face, saliva, eye, ear. So it's all synthetic, and that's something that starts early season and goes through clean to the rut.
Okay.
It's a good community. Bucks are attracted to it. Does seem to be attracted to it for some reason. They're attracted to pretty much any scent, except doe and heat. They will blow on you for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what that is. Now, along with that, because it's the biggest seller, we made it a little stronger and a little more potent.
Okay.
So we have a pre-orbital plus I'll put right beside it here, and that holds up very well. And like I said, that's the best seller. I sell more of that. People are on Facebook and email me. I get lots of pictures back.
Yeah.
From beginning of the season to the end.
Yeah.
It's a marvelous one. It works great.
Okay.
So we have a buck urine one.
Yep.
It's a synthetic buck urine one.
Okay.
And the reason we did a synthetic is because of chronic waste disease with the real urine.
Yep.
You can't really use real urine in certain areas.
Right.
And guys say, well, I can't use it. I don't want to lose a sale. So we come up with a synthetic. It's mimicked off of this. It's the same smell. Well, it's supposed to be the same smell.
Yeah.
But it works just the same way.
Okay. Do you see more Do you see like any difference with them? Like when they're hanging in a tree, do you see any difference between them?
No.
Really?
Here's
Okay.
what I'll tell you. A synthetic will hold the smell. It's got a long, stable, fresh life.
Right.
So a real urine, I don't put anything in it.
Okay.
So it's going to break down quicker.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that if a buck smells a real one, he comes in and he starts putting his own smell in it.
Right.
A lot of times what they'll do is they'll take over it. They'll go in, they'll start rubbing their smell, and then another buck does his smell,
Right.
and they take over it. And that's what happens with all of these ropes. So a lot of times we're banking on that to happen with the regular urine one. So that works really well.
Okay. And then the Curiosity all-season one here.
Yes, it's a Curiosity. We had a couple of the guys. I have pro staff who do a lot of testing for me, and they wanted me to come up with a Curiosity. We talked about it, and they used the Curiosity we had, so we tweaked it a little bit to put it out early season. It brings in deer, brings in fawns, does, bucks.
Okay.
It's not geared just for like the pre-orbital. We try to gear that for the buck.
Right.
So it's just pretty much all around. You're going to get a good track of your inventory. And like I said, the nice thing is we're using about 2.5 to 3 ounces.
Yeah.
And it's on a rope 4 feet long, so you're going to get extended range. You're probably going to see deer if you had a trail camera. If you had the trail camera there before, you might see deer you didn't see before because of the range it reaches out and brings them in.
Okay, so the higher up, the further then it would technically fly with the wind or thermals or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Plus the whole rope is 4 feet.
Yeah.
So it's all saturated with the smell.
Wow.
So that's equivalent to you taking 3 1-ounce bottles and putting them out. That's a lot. I don't think anybody puts that much scent out at once.
No.
But it happens because doe when they pee, deer pee when they pee up to about a pint to a quarter a day. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then that we already went. Did we go over buck scrape?
Nope.
We didn't.
That's
okay.
a pre-orbital. I'm sorry. It's a synthetic. It's a buck scrape. And with the buck scrape, we have different smells. We have a little bit of pre-orbital because they rub their face. We have a little interdigital because they're scraping. I did an antler dust, so that's because they rub it. They get a little bit of sometimes they break the pieces off.
Yeah.
So that pretty much is designed at the end of summer. You can put it out, let them get a little familiar with it, and then towards the fall it's more active.
Okay.
And past history on this is one that we've actually had pictures come back and feedback. We get a lot of feedback on these because we've been doing these 2 years before we sell them.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest buck we've seen in the fall, this produces. I don't know if it's the area or, but I just know I've seen some big bucks off of this and I was impressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So out of all these ropes right here, which one is your absolute favorite? That's your like, I don't care about, if you had to pick between one of them, which one would you go with?
People don't like the synthetic. I like the synthetic because of shelf life. So if I'm going to pick, I'm going to pick the pre-orbital or the pre-orbital plus.
Yeah.
They seem to produce. They seem to be holding up well.
Yeah.
And that would be my favorite. You didn't ask me about a second one, but I'm going to go ahead and say. I'm going to tell you, it's 2 is a buck urine. Okay. Because early season they run together.
Yep.
And then in late season they just want to kill each other.
Yeah.
So there's that attraction between either wanting to meet them or wanting to kill them.
Okay.
So it's an attractant either way.
Yeah. So have you ever ran, say, 2 ropes on the same tree?
I did not. I had a pro staff that did it.
Yeah.
And I mean, they come in and they smell it. They walk one and smell, and then they walk away. So it's like it was a curiosity thing. They brought them in. They smelled it. I don't see an advantage or a disadvantage. Right. But like I said, I didn't do it. I had a pro, and we got the pictures to see it and stuff. Yeah. It's just different.
Cool.
That was it. Yeah.
Cool. Where are you guys out of? Where are you out of?
I'm out of Landisburg.
Okay.
Landisburg, PA. So we're local, relatively local here to Harrisburg.
Yeah. All right. Where can people follow you, buy some stuff online, if not, or go to the store?
So I'm set at the Harrisburg Outdoor Show. Kinsey Outdoor is one of our vendors. Kinsey asked me to come down and rep, and that's what we're doing. Perfect spot. I appreciate everything they did. So we're selling them here. And the bottom line is, if nobody wants to buy them today, I don't mind telling you about them. Kinsey carries them. You can walk in the store and say, hey, Rick, talk to me about these. I know what I'm looking for. Right. So they have them. Online, it's www.ropescrape.com. Okay. So we can get them to you through the mail that way. in my area, we have a lot of local stores and stuff that carry them. I just don't want to go through the whole list.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been awesome having you on for this short little podcast here and tell us about all the ropes you guys have. And I'm probably going to be trying some out this year.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Sweet. I
Yeah.
appreciate this.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at Bro Creek Trail Cameras here with Matt. Matt, you're a PA trail cam company. I think I first found you last year.
Yeah.
And I just never had you on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm here now. Walk us through what you got going on here.
All right, so this year we have 4 different cameras. We have a BC52 that's a 32 megapixel trail camera. It has a 8 megapixel image sensor in it.
Okay.
That has a 70-degree field of view. And then the newest camera is our wide view camera. That's a 120-degree field of view. It uses the same setup as the BC52. So it's basically the BC52 with expanded view.
Yeah.
So kind of our thought process in this is obviously a lot of public land in PA. People mounting their cameras in trees.
Yep.
So most normal cameras, you're getting a 54-degree field of view. So now you just expanded that view.
Okay.
Also uses an 8 megapixel image sensor. Great video, great audio. All our cameras have front-facing mics. So, we're coming up on turkey season. I love to run video. My turkeys tend to do the same thing every year, like gobble from the same points and stuff. So I like putting it on video mode during turkey season.
I have a lot of turkeys on my one camera.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love video mode during turkey season.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it a little bit during deer season, but not as much.
Yeah. Catches those bleats and those grunts pretty well, right?
Yeah. I had one, I think it was 2 years ago, stopped. You could see him making a rub, just off camera. The tree's kind of going like this, and he comes up and he just right into the camera. I'm like, holy cow, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
But so both of those use an 8 megapixel image sensor. The cell cam and the BC48 use 14 megapixel image sensors. So you're getting a much crisper picture, almost DSLR type quality. Those cameras are amazing. I use the 48 more for like scenic shots into sunsets, things like that.
Okay.
The BC30 cell cam, kind of the unique features there are when you turn the camera on, it selects a provider for you. So it's pulling in the strongest signal between T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon.
Okay.
So you don't have to buy a Verizon specific camera or an AT&T specific camera. It's going to find, you don't even get to choose, the camera chooses for you.
Right.
The range on it is phenomenal. I've gotten triggers as far as 55 yards. We say 100 feet because we want to be realistic.
Yeah.
So the range is much greater than our competitors. The higher quality image, and then the 3 carriers are kind of what sets us apart.
That's very interesting because, you said the 3 carrier part. I have not run into a cell cam company that has the option of T-Mobile at all.
Right.
So like how did that happen, or how does that go about doing that?
It's just kind of how our manufacturer did it. They added T-Mobile. Actually, we're about to do a deal with an outfitter in Ohio because that's all they get is T-Mobile.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's definitely an added bonus to have that in there. But the big bonus is, like, we run into guys down here that have Verizon, and then they're like, yeah, when I go upstate, I can't take that camera upstate.
Yeah.
They only get AT&T up there, or vice versa. But so now they have the option to take this camera pretty much anywhere. So if you have 1 bar on your camera, or on your phone, you're going to get probably 3 on the camera.
If you have, down here, say you have AT&T, and then you go up north, you have Verizon up there, so it'll automatically change for you.
Yeah, the camera picks it on its own.
Okay.
On my property, I get all 3. It was funny. I was testing cameras in my kitchen the other day, and they're like 6 feet apart. And one had AT&T and one had Verizon. I'm like, it's pretty weird. But so that's the main features of the camera. The cell cam uses Scout Tech app, so there's other companies that use Scout Tech. So if you have one of the other camera companies that use Scout Tech, you actually can bundle your data with the other companies.
Okay. All right.
So that's a bonus. You pick one plan. It's $7 line fee. Then I think like 1,000 pictures is around $5. So, but the cool thing is you bundle all your data at once.
Yeah.
So you could have 1 billion cameras. All the data's going under one plan.
On the one plan.
So like right now I have 2 cams that are on scrapes that I've never gotten to move.
Yeah.
And I might get 10 pictures a month, you know, since November on those, but I don't care because it's all bundled under the same data package.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice because I think a lot of people are looking for that when they have the cell cams. You know, it's like, is there a bundle plan? And that is a good bundle plan where it's like, okay, you have this much data for this many cameras.
Exactly.
Instead of like you have to pay $5 per camera to get 650 pictures or whatever it is. You know, it's nice.
Yeah, and their app's so easy to use. Like right now, it'll show I'm over data.
Yeah.
I can go in there and just push. It gives you a green bar if you're good, orange bar if you're like right there where you need to be, and then a red bar. So if I'm at red, I just hit the bar and it'll pull up the data package. I can make cameras inactive. I can suspend them. Their app is great. Like making a camera inactive, our camera will still work as a regular trail camera.
Right.
You can suspend it. You're out putting a food plot out or something, and you're like, don't take any pictures at all. You just suspend it.
Right.
So there's a lot of features to it. You can share with 10 people, and they don't need to have a paying account. Like it's a free account, but
that's nice.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Like, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. So where can people, if anyone's interested in the cameras, you're at the Great American Outdoor Show.
Yep.
But where else could they go and get your camera?
So you can go to bowcreekoutdoors.com, at Bow Creek Outdoors on Instagram, and Facebook's just Bow Creek Outdoors, 3 words. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you letting me come over here and do this. And you also have a solar panel, too.
Yeah, the solar panel is absolutely amazing.
With battery prices,
Yeah, and it's 25 milliamp hours. So when I tested some, I did the 5,000, the 8,000. On a north-facing mountain, like the 8,000 wasn't worth it. Like I was only getting, I think, 2 to 3 weeks out of it because I'm not getting enough sunlight.
Right.
With this, on the north-facing mountain, I'm getting 6 months out of. I take it home, I recharge it. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I have one on top of the mountain, and I'm at 18 months with that one, never touching it. So it's worth the investment. I know people look at the price and go, oh, but when you start looking at batteries and how often you're replacing batteries and everything, like it's really worth it.
And the solar panel will work on both the regular SD cameras and cell cameras?
Yeah, but you won't need it on our regular cameras. Like you run alkaline batteries in there and you're going to get most of the time over a year.
Really?
Yeah, it's
that's
awesome.
Awesome. That's cool.
In fact, 15 months on a set of lithiums on 20-second video. The BC 52, which is the same as the 32, like I said, just the wider angle.
Yeah.
20-second video, 15 months, lithium batteries. I wasn't even at 50% of my battery usage.
Holy crap. And what size SD card were you using in that?
32 gig.
32 gig?
All of them can take up to a 32 gig.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's good to know.
And they have something called SD cycle on them. So if you want them to soak, you turn SD cycle on, it'll delete the oldest picture and take a new picture if your card's full.
Okay, wow. That's actually pretty nice. Like, it's just the wind right there, then it replaces it with something else. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, I really appreciate you letting me come over here and do this podcast with you. And,
no doubt.
Maybe we'll have to schedule a full-length one
let's
for
do
in studio.
Love it.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, buddy.
Cool.
Thank you.
Absolutely.